Preview.
Here we are, episode 60, Mainline Marlins podcast. I got a special guest today, Coach Cip Garza from the Lexington Legends.
Happy to be here.
Coach, good to have you. Winker couldn't make it. He sends his regards. Would have loved to talk to you. We both played baseball in college, and so we have some of the similar experiences. Actually, he was at Florida State when I was at Maryland, back when Maryland was in the ACC, so pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
definitely, it's awesome.
We're going to get into some baseball, what you're doing independent league-wise. But let's talk a little bit about the game. Man, the bats got cold.
Tough loss.
Especially against Weaver, who we were able to beat up the last time we played him.
Yep.
And you know, I called it on the game yesterday. I said it's either going to be a Penn night or Jordan Holloway is going to get the start. That was his first debut as a starting pitcher.
Correct.
Struggled a little bit to find the spots.
Yeah, I mean, and especially, you know, if you get down early, the Marlins, they're not a big hitting team.
Right.
So you can't get down by 5 early and expect to
come back.
Kind of swing it out through. It's going to be a tough.
The games that we won in most recently, we've gotten ahead right away.
Exactly.
And that last night wasn't. But we were resting Duvall, resting Rojas.
Yeah, it's baseball. It's 162 games for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. So let's talk about what you're doing, your journey to where you got where you are now, but a little bit about your history about being in Miami and all that stuff.
Definitely. It's a little bit of a long story, a long journey.
We got plenty of time.
I'll try to chop it up a little bit. But I was born and raised here in Homestead, really, but South Florida, Miami area.
Right.
Went to school, a couple of different high schools, Palmer Trinity, and then graduated from South Dade down at Homestead.
All right.
So been obviously played baseball since I was 2 years old. So just the love of the game is always been there, you know.
Right.
And always had goals and dreams and aspirations of trying to play at the highest level. I think for a lot of kids growing up, you know, you have that dream, that vision, you want to try to make it and just push yourself as far as you can. So after high school, you know, I was dedicated to try to make it to college, and I was able to go to college and play college baseball, you know, had some good success and a lot of experience there, and then wanted to continue to push my ranks and the professional baseball as well. Unfortunately, I had a little bit of injuries that kind of limited me to how far I wanted to get, but it also opened up opportunities for me to get into coaching at an early age. Right. And it started off as more of a player coach role, and then when I was 27, I just full-fledged just said, I'm just going to be a coach now. And
right on.
As difficult as that was, it was a great transition for me, and it kept me around the game. And now I've been coaching for 5 years.
So there are two things that you brought up, injuries and then coaching. One of the most things that you're most known for is that injury where you had to get airlifted off the field.
Correct.
But then you made a comeback after that.
I did, yeah.
Talk about that for a second. And then want to ask you about some of your mentors that were coaches that kind of gave you that fire in your belly to coach young guys.
For sure.
You know, to love the game and fundamentals on point and things like that.
100%. No, so I did go through it's what's called the traumatic brain injury that I suffered when I was pitching in a game in high school. And I was unfortunately struck in the side of the head, you know, not on purpose, of course, but it was a pretty serious injury, and I had to get airlifted to the hospital. And unfortunately, the recovery process was pretty extensive, and it took me a while to kind of get back. In fact, the doctors I remember initially told me, and I was 16 when this happened, and they told me, hey, you're not going to be able to play any more contact sports for the rest of your life because the brain injury was serious at that time. And I played football, basketball, and baseball in high school. So, I mean, man, right there, I was down to just only baseball left, really. And they told me even with baseball, it was going to take a while to get back to it, that I had to sit out at least a year and then come back with protective headgear. And it was very, very, like I said, tough time to just try to get through and just be a normal kid who just wanted to have fun and play baseball and hang out with his friends, you know? So it was a tough process, but like you said, I had a lot of great people in my corner. My family, first and foremost, they always supported me, helped me out through all those difficult times. And I had great coaches, like you mentioned. Not just my personal coaches, but even trainers. I had one of the gentlemen I work with is a man named Gilbert Gonzalez, who has been around in South Miami for a long time. He does a lot of mental training. That was his specific thing. So not the physical lifting heavy weights, but just of how to be a mental, tough, strong person, perseverance. And I learned a lot of great lessons through that. And that helped me out through a lot of those tough times.
Right. So back in the day when I was playing and Winker and guys like us, you never hear anybody talking about meditation or mental toughness. You know, you just go out there and play the game and as hard as you can.
Correct.
But now, now it's changed where there's a whole thing about there's a mental game, there's a mental side to the game, there's a physical side of the game, and for some guys, there's almost a spiritual side to the game.
100%.
And those are the guys that have elevated their game to the next level.
And we know, especially like how mentally draining baseball can be.
Right.
When you're really in it and you're really thinking, it could drain you.
Yeah.
To have that, ability to kind of get back to a good balance point and always be ready to go is important.
Yeah, especially when you're at the pro level, because you're looking at, hey, this next batter that's coming up, what are his tendencies? Where am I? If I'm playing in the outfield, where am I thinking about where I'm going to go?
Sometimes you're thinking 2 innings ahead.
Yeah. And first step, where's my first step going to be? And that kind of stuff. And now, obviously, the coaches help with switches and things like that. Sometimes those are wrong.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
You got to play your own instinct.
Yeah, so you got to always be, and then just react to the ball as fast as you can. But there's a lot of things going through a guy's mind. Hey, especially if he just struck out the inning before.
Oh, yeah.
With bases loaded or something like that, when we needed left guys on base and things like that.
Short-term memory.
You got to, you just got to the next pitch, the next play, and then think about where you can make an impact. So talk about some of the coaches that you had growing up and then later on that were mentors that helped you really find your love for the game, and then the philosophy about how you teach baseball.
Well, I think the first coach that I had, and I'm sure a lot of guys grew up as their father, really.
Right, sure.
So growing up around, my dad would always train us and take us to the field and, hit ground balls to us and throw batting practice and stuff. So a lot of the love that I got in the game was just around my dad and my brothers. It was us always competing and competitive with ourselves and pushing each other, to want to be better. And that was a lot of my first experience of really gaining the love for the game is through my father. And of course, a lot of other good young coaches in Little League and stuff like that. And then once I got to high school, I got a few more really good coaches that were able to teach me the importance of, how to be a good person and why that matters, because really, and at that age, everybody wants to be the best, right? And so, of course, you do. But how important it is to be a good person while you're trying to achieve that greatness is so important. And I was able to have a few good coaches that remind me of that, of, hey, make sure as you continue your career, you always treat people well and be a good person as you go out there. And that helped me out. And,
for sure, the guys that have integrity and that are excellent athletes are always the guys that make the biggest impact.
I think it opened up doors for me to get into my coaching career, to be honest, because had I been different as a player, I probably wouldn't have been offered this opportunity to get into coaching, and that wouldn't have been the same case. And then when I got into college, I had a lot of good college coaches as well. College was different because it was more the tough nose, hey, turn you into a man type,
Right.
High school, I got a little bit more love and like appreciation of the game and, the camaraderie of your high school teammates. I mean, that's always fun,
Right. But once you get to the collegiate level, you're really only there to make it to the show.
And it becomes evident really quick that this is it. We're here to put our work in, do your job and keep moving.
This is a business and the fun's
over. Yeah,
the fun can happen later.
It's still fun. The entire journey is so much fun.
Right.
But you really start to like, hey, you know what? If this is what I want to do, it's time to be focused.
All right. So now you're coaching at Lexington for the Legends.
Yep.
Used to be AA affiliate of the Royals.
Yep.
Now they're independent.
Independently.
Talk about how that all worked out, and then what is the journey for some young guy through the independent leagues to make it to the majors?
Yeah, so Lexington, this is going to be their first year in the Atlantic League. The Atlantic League's been around, and they've really one of the, I would say, the highest level independent ball league. Everybody's very, familiar with the major league system and how the minor league system runs in that AAA, AA, single A, and of course the big leagues. But there's another system which a lot of people are not familiar with, which is the independent ball system.
Right.
And there's many independent ball leagues, so it's kind of hard to always keep up with them. But there's been a few that have really been, the solid, strong ones that everybody's very familiar with. The Atlantic League is probably the top tier league out of all the independent ball leagues. And initially I was coaching on a lower level league, but this is my first year with them. The reason that they got into the Atlantic League is because Major League Baseball just consolidated a bunch of single A teams and double A teams from their systems down. And basically they said, hey, good luck and hope you can find a new home. And they jumped into different leagues. The American Association is another league that a few teams jumped into. And obviously the Frontier League and the Atlantic League, which is where Lexington ended up at.
So what are some of the other teams in that league that people might know?
Well, one of the most popular teams is the Long Island Ducks.
Right.
They've had a lot of ex-big leaguers who played with the Yankees or the Mets that want to stay local, and they
keep playing
go
ball
there. Yeah, in fact, I remember at the beginning of the season they were rumored that they were going to try to sign Yoenis Cespedes.
Oh wow!
Which is funny because now he's out of baseball, but at the same time, it just shows you the type of caliber.
Maybe Albert Pujols can go.
You never know. I mean, yeah, guys at the end of their careers, they show up. They still have love for the game, and if you have love for the game, I mean,
Right. And one of the things you were showing me before the show was you guys signed 7 former MLB guys.
We have
playing for the Legends this season.
Legends. Our roster this year is looking really loaded. Yeah, we're really excited for that because a lot of great experience, and obviously experience comes so much, good skill with it. But at the same time, you got to produce on the field.
Right. But those guys become mentors to these young 19, 20-year-olds.
100%.
And give them the knowledge that nobody else can give them.
Correct.
By not traveling through that from single to double to triple.
Yeah, because a lot of guys, when they're younger, especially if it's their first few years, they're still trying to figure out. At the same time, they're growing into their own, men in early adulthood. 21, 25-year-old, they're still figuring their own selves out.
Right.
So to figure out their own career at the same time is very difficult. But having a guy who's been around a little bit, good experience, played at a higher level, he can definitely give some good advice to those younger guys. So
as a coach, what's your relationship with your players? Are you like the big brother? Are you like the stern father? Are you like the tough guy that they go, oh, this guy's going to kill us in drills or whatever? What type of coaching philosophy or what relationships do you have with your guys?
Well, that's one of the things that I really try to pride myself on. Being a young coach, I think one of the things when I first got into coaching, I thought about all the coaches I ever had from all the way when I was young till, in college and pro. And I thought, what was the best things that I loved that those coaches showed me? And what did I really enjoy that when they, would talk to me or whatever? And what did I hate? What did I not like? What really bothered me? I took all those things and I said, all right, I'm going to do those things that I knew were successful for me that I really liked. And the things that I didn't, I'm not going to push on guys. And I think the most important thing also is to just be real. Players don't like it when you're not real with them, when you're not upfront, when you try to BS them. No one really likes that. So even if you don't know the answer, just to be honest with the player and say, hey, look, man, I'm not really sure exactly what you're doing right now, but we got to figure it out. I'm going to try to help you. Mm-hmm. Guys appreciate that. And they see, he's coming from a real place, a real point of view, and he's really trying to help my career out. And they appreciate that.
Right. So with the Legends, what's your coaching role specifically?
So right now I'm one of the assistant coaches. So I guess I kind of get to be that bigger brother role a little bit, and kind of the
buffer between the boss.
Exactly. Which sometimes is good. And other times you got to deliver the bad news. So sometimes you're the bad guy, you do get a little bit of both sides of it, which is okay. And I've been around, at least long enough now to not be afraid to have to deliver some bad news.
Right. But I'm sure those guys in the long run will appreciate the honesty because either they're going to change what they're doing and get better, or maybe they got to find something else to do.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
They definitely do.
Right. So what are your aspirations? I know this is not the end of the road.
Yeah.
For Cip Garza, where do you see that? Let's just take a walk 5 years from now. Where do you think Coach Garza what's he going to be doing then?
Well, my goal is to, just try to continue to coach and impact as many players as possible. I never, as a kid, like we were talking, my goal wasn't to become a coach. My goal was to play in the big leagues and just to be the best player that I could be. Now I'm very much open and excited for this role because I realize the impact that I can have with players and the help that I can have with them. And that has kind of fueled me into a new goal of saying, well, let me see how far I can push this. This is a really amazing opportunity that I never thought I was going to have. And now, I don't know where to say I'll be in 5 years, but I really hope that I'm still pushing it.
But it's definitely going to be somewhere with baseball.
Yeah, I don't see it stopping. No.
Right on. Yeah. So we were talking earlier about the journey a kid goes making it, either getting drafted in high school or going to play college ball and getting drafted to make it, and how difficult that is.
Tough.
Walk somebody, there's a lot of people that don't understand how tough that is. You're on riding down the road on these rickety old buses.
Yeah.
Might not even make it to the next town.
I'm telling you.
Staying in these rat-infested motels.
Sharing with players. Yeah.
No, the big boy that's snoring all night long. Yeah, that guy. Yeah,
he's got to be your roommate.
That's your new roommate.
Yep.
But then the guys that are doing it and make it, you just have to know the passion that they have for that game.
Oh yeah, 100%. No, I really believe that it comes from, like we just described. You got to have the passion to put up with all of those tough parts of the game that you just kind of have to go through. You know, the long bus rides. You're not making a lot of money. Everyone, I think,
nothing, hardly anything.
Everyone kind of sees the guys on TV, and they do make a lot of money. So everyone just goes, "Wow, well, if you are in the league, then you made it."
Fernando Tatis.
Yeah, exactly. 300 million. You know, but in reality, that's not the case. A lot of these guys are making, you know, way less, way less, $500 a month, you know, type deal, which is crazy to think about. Now, obviously, they have support from the team, you know, as far as
they're paying for their hotel rooms and food and stuff.
But nonetheless, you know, it's a very abnormal situation, lifestyle that you have to be able to adapt to. And really, the guys who have the most success, you know, they don't put so much pressure on those little things. I think that the guys who I see do really well, they embrace and enjoy those tough parts. You know, they're not really complaining about the bus rides or about the food or whatever. They're just kind of accepting and kind of going with it. And
enjoying the ride.
Exactly.
Enjoying the ride. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a minute about the way that you learned baseball. And then the way it's taught today is totally different.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can't even imagine, like, the stuff that we did is they wouldn't, you know, they get arrested for some of the stuff they did when I was a young guy.
It's crazy how much the game of baseball has changed in just a short period of time. You know, I'm not old, I'm 31, but in my short lifespan, I've seen the game change. You know, when I was a kid growing up, it was a lot of, you know, you're trying to hit the ball hard up the middle. And that was it. We're going, you know, line drives up the middle, put good wood on it, you know, and stealing bases, playing small ball, trying to bunt, you know, using all of the tools of the game to try to win. And I loved how many facets you could use, you know, the hit and runs, the steals, and, you know, the situations, the matchups,
squeezes, whatever,
everything. You know, you could exploit so many strategies, and I love that part.
Right.
Today, the game is still there. That part still exists, but it's a lot smaller as to the terms of in which they play that. Now, it's the home run. It's the long ball. We're looking to try to strike guys out and hit the ball far.
But there's still guys that play that money ball philosophy, like the A's and the Rays.
And it's cool to see
the Marlins to a great
extent. Right now, the Marlins are in it with Jeter, and they're really doing good with it. So it is cool to see that. And it's funny. I heard a great speaker one day say, you know, there's multiple ways to get to the sum of 10. So there's no one right answer.
Yeah.
10 and 0 is 10, but 5 and 5 is also 10.
Right.
So same goes for building up a winning franchise. You know, there's one great way to do it, sure, but there's also other great ways to do it.
Well, they're playing teams that spend a ton of money that don't get
the Yankees don't always win every year.
Equality of wins.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
So money spent really doesn't equate everything. So there's a lot of, you know, that's why the scouting goes into it. And they look for guys who, you know, are the diamonds in the rough, the guys who aren't the big guys, but they know they can get the job done.
And maybe even some guys from the independent league.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
So I've never been to that ballpark in Lexington.
Yeah.
But now we're kind of like post-COVID. What is that experience going to be like at that ballpark for fans that are coming out to see the local guys play?
Oh, it's going to be great this year. I'm really super excited about that because, you know, last year, obviously COVID just completely changed everybody's plans and no one was prepared for it and a lot of people weren't able to get any work done at all, which missing a complete season, players, that's just so detrimental to their development, you know. But as an organization, you want to try to get everything kind of back to normal. Kentucky, every state has different laws. Obviously, Florida, Kentucky, you know, everyone's different. But luckily, they were a little open last year. So we had some fans in the stands last year, and that was kind of made baseball seem a little normal. This year, they're going to have, I believe, full capacity, which is pretty awesome. Which is pretty great because, again, I think a lot of people, especially, you know, summer baseball coming up, they kind of just want to get a little get a little bit of normalcy back.
Plus, the cool part I always loved about minor league games is they had the best promotions.
The
coolest hot dog and beer promotions and all the stuff they give away and
dollar dogs or all that.
And I know the thing that they had on the website for the Legends is you got a T-shirt, you got an opening day ticket. Yep. There's all kinds of cool.
No, they're selling a cool opening day package box, with some cool merchandise and
it's all about the stash over there.
That's the big thing. The other hat I have, it has the actual guy with the stash on.
Right on. So do you have any players that you want to give a shout out to that you think are going to do some breakout stuff this season for the Legends?
Yeah, honestly, well, it's funny. I think we are really going to surprise some guys. One of the guys I can't even say yet because we just signed him, but he's a local shortstop from Miami.
All right on.
And I really think my hope is that he's going to be one of our not sleepers because he's going to be well known, but he'll surprise some guys and hopefully get back to the league.
Right on. He's probably going to gravitate to you because there's not a whole lot of Cuban food in Lexington.
No, we're gonna have to find a good
spot,
food.
right?
Yeah,
Or one of you guys is going to have to cook, and
we'll figure it out together.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
Coach Garza, really good to have you. Let's tonight we got a 9:40 game against the Diamondbacks again. Pablo Lopez going against Madison Bumgarner. Trevor Rogers beat him last time. Pablo had a good outing the last time he pitched.
I was actually at that game last week.
All right,
at
on
the Marlins Stadium when Bumgarner threw and Pablo beat him.
Yeah,
so that was a good one.
Very cool.
Yeah,
so looking forward. Yeah, we got to get a win. The bats got to heat up. That's the most important thing.
Consistency.
I think tonight we're going to have probably Dickerson, Duvall, and back. Rojas back.
Yeah.
Jazz Chisholm and Alfaro already reported for rehab assignment.
They'll get healthy soon.
By next week, they'll be back with the team. Maybe meeting us back home and get this thing started again.
Heck yeah. Well, long season, so all you got to do is
But it's tough when you lose key guys. Like those are super
100%.
Starling Marte, Alfaro, although he's been up and down, he's still a cornerstone of that team.
No.
And then Jazz, who has been the electricity that's lit the whole team from the beginning, from day one.
Yeah.
So I love that kid, and I want to see him be successful.
So do I.
Keep him injury free the rest of the season.
It's tough, but you know what? I got great hope for the Marlins. I think they're on the right path.
Absolutely. So here's something that we're gonna do right now is commit to doing this like once baseball season starts. Every couple weeks, I'll get you to zoom in from Lexington or wherever you are on the road, and we'll talk about what are the legends doing.
Give you some updates. Yeah, for sure.
And I'll tell you how hot as hell it is in Miami. And we'll have some laughs and talk some baseball. Sound good?
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on there.
Coach Cip Garza, I really appreciate you coming. All right, let's flip the M tonight, boys. Go fish.
Thanks.
We're out.
Preview.